What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the GDT Live presented by the Game Day Terps podcast. My name's Dayton Camo. Alongside me, Colton Davies, as always. Today, we've got a good one. Max Miller from the San Jose Sharks beat and the creator of Sharks Hockey Digest is joining us later in about 10 minutes or so to talk everything San Jose Sharks. They've got a great development camp that was just going on this past weekend or throughout the week. And they've got a pretty good draft class this year that was selected. Michael Misa, Josh Ravensbergen, along with a few others. So, Colton, we're going to have a great episode today. But first, we want to wish a happy 4th of July to the viewers south of the border. I know we've got a few of them. We thank you for tuning in all the time, you Americans, and hope you enjoy your long weekend. Colton?
We're talking to you, Willie.
Yeah, we are talking to you, Willie. Colton, how's it going, man? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Happy 4th of July to everybody down south. Looking forward to today's show. We got Max Miller coming on, as Dayton said, so looking forward to that. Really looking forward to next week. We got a fun one for you guys next week. We got a few guests coming on. I won't spoil it. I've already told you about Nate Thompson coming on. That's because I had to tell you about that because he was scheduled to come on today, but with it being the 4th of July, he's a little bit undetectable at the moment, as he was going to be shutting his phone off and having a good time with friends and family. But watch out for next week. We got an NHL player coming on, and really looking forward to talking to this guy. But Dayton, Scott Wheeler had a post up yesterday. Why don't we dive into that a little bit and talk about the World Junior Summer Showcase roster that was announced for Team Canada?
Yeah, definitely. Scott Wheeler posted on Twitter, names I have told have been invited to Hockey Canada's World Junior Summer Showcase. Sasha Boisvert, Cole Reshny, Jake O'Brien, Cameron Reed, Brady Martin, Malcolm Spence, Owen Protz, Justin Carbonneau, Michael Hage, Henry Muse, Caden Lindstrom, and Kishan Aitchison. Those are all some pretty good names. I don't see anyone there that shouldn't be invited, but the names of the guys that weren't invited were kind of shocking. One of them, friend of the show, Jackson Smith. We just talked to him a couple weeks ago, and he said that the World Junior Summer Showcase was something that he was hoping he would get an invite to, but I think that this just puts a little bit of fuel in his fire, and maybe he'll step up and show Hockey Canada that they made the wrong decision here.
Yeah, I think some people online got it wrong a little bit. Excuse me. Some people online have it a bit a bit wrong. People are kind of saying that Smith wasn't selected because he's gone to the NCAA, and that's not the reason. Like that is out of the question because Cole Reshny was invited, et cetera, et cetera. Justin Carbonneau was invited, although it's not confirmed he's going yet to BC or what's happening there. But Cole Reshny was invited. Michael Hage was invited. So the whole NCAA Hockey Canada thing kind of gets tossed out the window. But when you look at that list, it's very it's puzzling to not understand why Smith wouldn't be there. I understand that Schaefer is like a definitive defenseman there. I understand that there's other players that are gonna. Harrison Brunick is a lock to come and play again, but to not invite Jackson Smith was puzzling.
Yeah, there's a few other names here: Jacob Battaglia, Lyndon Lakovich, Merrick Van Acker, and Bill Zonin. All four of them as well not invited to Hockey Canada's Summer Showcase. Bill Zonin, someone I watched this year in the queue with Ruan Oranda. He was an electric skater out there, although his skating does need work. He's quick and he makes work of what he has, but I do see why maybe Zonin was left off there. I think Hockey Canada looks at him as maybe someone that could improve with the footwork a little bit. And then,
right, I think, yeah,
no,
I think
go ahead.
I think it's a fair assumption. Like there's a lot of invites. I think the other thing too is, I feel like you were probably just about to touch on this, but Landon Dupont. So I don't know if you were just about to talk about him, but him not getting an invite, I mean, people shouldn't really be scratching their heads all too much. From what I was told, like, and take this with a grain of salt, but he apparently needs to prove himself this fall. So whatever that means, I don't understand what more he needs to prove. He's going to go to the Holenka, so he'll play there. So I think that's the big thing with Dupont is he'll go to the Holenka and he'll play in that. From there forward, it's what's going to happen this fall. If he's going to put up. I said to somebody last night, I said he's going to put up like 40 points in like 15 games. Just watch. Like Dupont is a generational defenseman, but I think that he's going to get that invite once it comes around in the fall.
Yeah, I think obviously him and Keaton Verhoff. I read somewhere that they're probably going to be on the Holenka roster. They're going to start them there, and I think the thing that Hockey Canada has up their sleeve this year is a deeper talent pool. Last year we saw, I don't know, maybe some guy. The roster was questionable. I'll say that. I know there was some guys left off, but like I'll just read some of the names that Scott Wheeler said he didn't have to ask on. So these are the guys that are more than likely locks for the team this year, and this is why I think guys like Landon Dupont and Keaton Verhoff, the younger guys, might not have gotten invites so early, was because Canada has guys like Matthew Schaefer, Zane Parekh, Sam Dickinson, Harrison Brunick, Gavin McKenna, Jet Luchenko, Berkeley Catton, Porter Martone, Cole Baudouin, Jack Ivankovic, Carter George, Beckett Seneca, Michael Misa, Joshua Ravensbergen, Caleb Denoyer. He's going to be health permitting, and same with TJ Ginla. But like those guys are all probably locks for Hockey Canada's World Junior team this coming winter.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a loaded team anyways, once you start reading off those names.
Yeah, I think that team gives last year's team a run for, what am I saying? This team beats last year's team for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
I think so.
No, but I think just back to like the summer showcase, like you even look at last year's roster in the summer compared to the roster that was, officially put on the ice for the World Juniors, and it wasn't vastly different, but there was guys that were definitely, that went to the summer camp but weren't even invited to the winter camp. Guys that weren't invited to the summer camp but were invited to the winter camp. So yeah, it's just about Hockey Canada, I think, just trying to check all their boxes, see certain guys. They've seen Jackson Smith play in their program at the U18s, the under 17s. Was he just there for the U18s too?
And U18s as well, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thought that was right. So I think Smith will ultimately get his chance. Let's see what he does here at Penn State throughout his first couple months, but it's hard not to put him on that roster, even though you have guys like Shaver and Sam Dickinson and Harrison Brunick who are gonna just insane Parekh who are just gonna. That's your top four already. So, yeah, it's tough. It really is tough once you start to think more about it. And like talking about Matthew Schaefer too, like that also depends on whether he's gonna get his games. And a lot of people think he's gonna get his games in the NHL, which he will. I mean, I'm not saying he's not gonna. What I'm saying is what if he sticks? So then what? Like, do the Islanders let him go play at the World Juniors? Probably not. So it's all hypothetical. But with the defense core that Hockey Canada has on on paper right now, it's unbelievable.
Well, here's the thing. I'll say this. I know the San Jose Sharks did not let Macklin Celebrini go back last year. I understand that. Celebrini turned into a great player last year. He was a Calder Cup finalist or a Calder Trophy finalist, and like he showed that he was a fit in the NHL, especially on that line with Toffoli and Smith. But when a national team doesn't or the NHL team doesn't allow the player to go back to the national team, I kind of find it a little bit. I just don't like it. I think I'll say that. I don't like it a whole lot because I know they can develop in the NHL and they might be past that. They might be past that for their development. But I also think they're still a young guy. They're still giving a team a chance to win. And more than likely, these guys that come down from the NHL, like if Celebrini was to come down this year, he would be a leader on this team. And he might be one of the best players, if not the best player on this team alongside Gavin McKenna. And so, like, it's giving these NHL players chances to come down and lead these national teams rather than stay up in the NHL and develop on a second line or a third line. You know, that's just my thought on it. I don't know. You guys can tell me I'm absolutely wrong in the comments, but yeah, that's my take on it. I'm not a huge fan of when the NHL teams keep them up in the league rather than let them go back down. Look at Curtis Lazar when the Sens sent him back down. That tournament, he was going crazy in Toronto and Montreal.
That's true. Shout out Curtis Lazar, former Edmonton Oil King legend. Just signed with Edmonton Oilers too. Good guy. But I know you're too young for this, but the 2004-2005 team, when there was that lockout,
Double Dion? You think I'm too young for the Double Dion?
maybe you're not too young for that then. But that team, because of the lockout, was like insanely good, right? Like arguably the best team ever put on the ice for the World Juniors.
It was the best World Junior team ever assembled.
But like Jeff Merrick and Pierre Maguire talked about on the sheet, if there was no lockout, that team never would have been put together, right?
Exactly. I think certain circumstances give these teams different abilities, and I don't know. I think if this team is put together the right way this year, then Canada should make it past the quarterfinals. They won't lose to the Czechs. I'll put that out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Gotta
actually a cool stat. I don't know. I just wanted to bring this up. Until 2023, 2024, 3 different Canadian national teams lost in the quarterfinals to a Czech team. In the Spengler Cup, Canada lost to a Czech team. I can't remember exactly the team. In the World Juniors, obviously, Canada lost in the quarterfinals to the Czechs. And then in the women's under 18s, the Czechs also knocked out the women's team. So Canada and the Czechs are kind of like a new rivalry almost. And I'm here for it.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm all for it as well. It's nice to see countries like we talked about. I had this conversation with Matteo Kochi of the Kamloops Blazers. He's left Kamloops. He's now gone on to play pro in Czechia. But I had this conversation with Kochi where we talked about he played for Czechia at the World Juniors. Okay, so he played for 2 years in a row for them at the World Juniors, and we talked about how hockey in Czechia is progressing and going upwards, and how many superstar players there are that are coming out of Czechia and becoming NHL players, and just how much of an influence it's becoming. And he even attested to the other countries like Germany and Latvia and Slovakia, who are all rising as well in that sense. It's even the players all kind of feel that as well. Like it's a growing game everywhere, and it's really cool. I think it's really cool to see what's kind of happening.
Yeah, definitely. It's great everywhere. Some new countries are kind of stepping into the mix. I saw last night, I was scrolling on TikTok, and the Rimouski Oceanics TikTok page came up, and they've got a guy from Lithuania, I believe. I was like, wow, that's the first time I think I've ever seen a Lithuanian prospect.
Yeah, since Dainius Zubrus.
Oh, Dainius Zubrus, yes, sir. New Jersey Devils legend.
And Darius Kasparaitis.
I think I was too young for him.
Yeah, I think you were too. That name looked like it just went over your head. But
I've heard it before, Darius Kasparaitis, but I'm just like, no. I probably am a little bit too young for that name.
Well, that's okay. Kasparaitis was sick. You'll have to go watch some highlights of him after and check them out.
Yeah, after this, I'll hop over to YouTube and go watch some Darius Kasparaitis highlights. Why not, right?
Why not?
Well, we do have Max Miller here joining us now in the back room. So why don't we switch gears a little bit and we'll bring Max on? Max, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Everyone, this is Max Miller from the San Jose Sharks beat, the creator of Sharks Hockey Digest. Max, it's great to have you.
Yeah, a pleasure to be here and get the name out there for the digest, if you will.
Why not? Why not?
What have you made of the dev camp so far? Well, let's just start there. You were there covering it. How has that been for you?
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. Dev Camp is one of my favorite things to do. It's just so fun talking to the kids. I mean, Eric Polkamp, the defenseman from Denver, is funny as can be. He is a hoot. He unintentionally was funny and put out a tweet yesterday. He's talking about how we asked him if he's going back to Denver, and he said absolutely he wants to win a title there. He feels like every guy's got a title or a tattoo that says they've won a title except for him. And he then goes, take Matt Davis, who the Sharks signed. He's got 2 of them. He sees it every day on his leg in the shower. And we started laughing. He goes, no, seriously. Like, I feel like I'm the only one who doesn't have a title. And it was like a genuine thing, but it was unintentionally funny. But seeing Michael Misa, Sam Dickinson, the scrimmage yesterday was kind of the great finale. And it's a really fun time. The director of player development for the Sharks, Todd Marchant, gives terrific answers. And he is a wonderful person to work with. And this group was a little smaller, so they had their hands on them a little bit more. It was a lot of fun.
Well, let's touch on Polkamp just for a second. Obviously, a 6-3 win for Team Teal, and he had a hat trick. A hat was even thrown on the ice. What can you say about Polkamp and his play yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday, like he talked about afterward, like his confidence. This is his 3rd development camp. It was at an all-time high. He said the first one he was scared. Word I probably can't say on here. And it makes sense. And this time he was commanding. And we talked to Mike Greer during the first the halftime intermission, if you will, of it, about the free agent signings. And we asked him who stood out. And he said Eric Polkamp has really surprised him and stood out. And that proves it. I mean, like, the hat trick was really good. I mean, he's always had a great shot. We've seen it. He told us that he's going to take the Zeev Buium role at Denver next year. So let's see. I think at the end of next season, I think he gets a contract. I mean, he's impressed every time we've seen him at development camp. He went from Bemidji State to Denver University last year and starred. I mean, nobody expected him to make the World Juniors team 2 seasons ago, and he did. He didn't play much, but he made that team. That says something. He's a good skater. He's a big body, not the tallest, but a big body. And he's got all the tools to be a successful shutdown defenseman with a booming slap shot. The guy can really fire the puck, and he's motivated, right? I mean, he is wanting to be successful. He wants to be motivated. He wants to be a stud, and the work ethic, you can't teach that. And the personality is just, it's just fun to be around.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like it with that quote. We were actually going to bring that up. Thanks for bringing that up. You brought it right out of our mouths.
Sweet. Well, I mean, what am I but a gentleman to segue perfectly, right?
Oh, exactly. A couple players that I wanted to touch on, Michael Misa, and obviously his former Saginaw teammate, Igor Chernyshov. They were teamed up, and they were looking pretty good out there. What can you say about those two, and how were they playing yesterday?
Yeah, they were dynamic. I mean, those two are fun to watch together. As Michael Misa put it, they did everything but score, and that's true. I mean, they set up Polkamp on his first goal, a nice little working play in the corner by Chernyshov to find Misa, who slipped a nice pass to Polkamp, who one-timed it through the legs of, I think it was Ravensburg and in goal, but they were dancing all around the ice. They were making plays. Michael Misa, I think, you definitely saw some nerves in there. Chernyshov, not as much, but he was kind of searching, looking for plays, but he looked good. When the puck was on his stick, he was making plays, and he's got a good kid. Definitely a little quiet. I think he's nervous. It's been a whirlwind month, and all the rumors going around of will they take Frondell? Will they take Michael Misa? I don't know if it got to him, but I think it definitely he'll settle down. I think he wants to get back home to Ontario and relax and train. But he looked good.
Yeah, it's definitely fair. I would also be a little, if I was 18 years old and all that attention was on me, I don't know what I'd do.
100%. Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show you how generational Macklin Celebrini was last year. I mean, that kid came in with confidence in development camp. I mean, he was asking questions. He wanted to be first in line. Not to say that Michael Misa didn't come in with confidence to play well. It's just that upper echelon of Macklin Celebrini doing that and leaving that impression just from dev camp last year.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's talk about Celebrini just for 1 sec, because I did want to bring him up. I do want to go back to the prospects, but let's talk about Celebrini just for a minute. generational player. Can I use that word with him? I feel like absolutely, right? Watching him last season, I guess I should say, was just a treat. I mean, what a player to watch. You obviously got a firsthand experience of it. What was it like to watch him go from this rookie who, making his NHL debut, had a bit of nerves probably, to somebody who was probably the talk of the locker room, and a guy that was looked up to by a lot of people in that room?
I mean, he was looked up to, I think, the moment he stepped into that room. That kid,
Fair.
I mean, I remember the comparisons. The draft year was, he's Jonathan Toews, Captain Serious. That's about as accurate as it gets. The kid hates to lose more than he loves to win, right? That's very apparent, because as the season went on, and this is not a slight on him, the frustration, you could kind of see it with how he interacted with the media, but not in a bad way. I did a story on Jake Wallman before he was traded where it was similar, where it was just that they were just frustrated because they were close. They had all these 1-goal games, and now you see him. But I mean, he did that with class. He showed the frustration with class. But then you saw the work ethic on the ice and the willingness to play through pain, even when he has, he injured himself in preseason and re-aggravated it in the first game of the season and wanted to continue playing on it because it was his first NHL game. That just goes to show the high character of him. And now the biggest thing for me is, can he continue this ascent, right? The league knows him now. The league knows Will Smith now. Can he continue proving that he's a stud and a star player, and eventually, hopefully for the Sharks, a superstar player? Can he move forward in this progression? We know a sophomore slump is like a very common thing among all professional sports. I don't think he has one, and we'll see what he can do. So.
Let me rephrase this. Is a guy like Tyler Toffoli play a big role in the development of Celebrini and Smith, especially being a veteran?
I mean, he's their dad, basically. I mean, he's playing Joe Thornton, Patrick Marleau, Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews. But Toffoli is a leader. He's a guy who works. He's got good chemistry on the ice with both of them. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure you guys saw the story last year when they were in Buffalo. If all three of them score in a game, Tyler Toffoli has to sleep on a couch bed or an air mattress in their room, and it happened. And Toffoli didn't realize it happened when he scored the empty netter, and Will Smith said, "Sleep over" on the bench. If that doesn't show you how much he's really settled them down in what is a frustrating season where they could still have fun. Randy Hahn, the broadcaster, said this was the most fun last place team in the history of the NHL. I would agree with him. But a guy like Tyler Toffoli kind of grounds them a little bit. He lets them have fun, but when it's time to win and time to play, you could see him really kind of take over that leadership role and really kind of how to go about their business and work and do these things. And then also on their own. I mean, Macklin Celebrini doesn't get off the ice at all. I mean, at all. The dude is skating like crazy. Josh Ravensbergen told us that after the draft, he's been skating with Macklin in the BC area with a bunch of other guys. And the first time he skated, they were on the ice for 2 hours and he lost 8 pounds. Not Celebrini, Ravensbergen, the goalie. 8 pounds in one skate. And Macklin was like, I still want to get on the ice. I just want to work out and get back on the ice. So the kid's a machine.
Holy smokes. Yeah. I want to touch on Tyler Toffoli for a second because he's someone that I've watched play for a while. Obviously, he's been to Winnipeg. He's been to Montreal. Now he's in, and of course, Vancouver and LA. He's been everywhere, but he's been a fit, and he fits into the lineup, fits into the locker room everywhere. What do you think it is about Tyler Toffoli that just makes him a likable player?
Well, I mean, like he's Captain Serious, he does things professionally. I mean, he's the ultimate consummate professional. When you look at let me get a professional athlete, and you look at the work ethic, and you look at how they are off the ice. Tyler Toffoli is a perfect example. He's a nice guy off the ice. I look at some of his interactions too. I mean, when Tyler Toffoli this summer, I mean, he's been taking pictures of and posted on social media of going to the Metallica concert at Levi Stadium, handing Shane Gillis a Sharks jersey after his set at SAP Center. I mean, he's not necessarily the face of the franchise, but he's that almost liaison to the public. I mean, he's that guy who will always be there. He's willing to say yes. His wife's got a hockey podcast. He has all these fun things and connects well with the young players. He goes on podcasts. He talks. He's personable. But when it comes to the on ice, he's only gotten better as he's gotten older. Another 30-goal season last year. And, he wants to win, and he's serious about that when we talk to him. And it shows because he's doing what he can, and he's not wanting to leave. But he said, hey, we need to turn this around. And he's being the one driving the ship. But he's not doing it in the way of, oh, I need to win or else I want to get traded. He's doing it in a very personable and loving way to the community and inside that locker room. And I think that's just what makes him so likable.
Yeah, fair. It definitely seems like he's a good guy. And like you said, the dad aspect as well with Celebrini and Smith, probably a big impact on the locker room as well.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, he has them next to each other. He's got Celebrini on his left, Smith on his right. And I don't know how he can handle it. Those two, I'm sure, can be a lot for him because when they're not playing hockey, they are joking around. I mean, they are conjoined at the hip. Those two see each other every single day. I think, I don't know if they're together right now in the offseason, but I think they're probably like, where's Will? Where's Mac? If they're not next to each other, just searching for their long lost friend.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, let's go back to the talk about Michael Misa and stuff because I just wanted to get your thoughts on this. Did you, being in San Jose, being around the team, did you believe the outside noise about Frondell going number 2?
The people I talked to, I believed it. I didn't really believe it all the way until about 4 or 5 days before the draft. And then the day before the draft, things kind of flipped back, right? It really got heavy. They're going to go Frondell. They're going to go Frondell. I talked to some people. Somebody told me that they really think it's going to be Frondell and it's coming out because they're almost prepping the fan base. And that was like, that almost kind of made too much sense to me where I was like, really? Yeah. And I mean, I had a lot of friends and a lot of fans that I talked to like, oh, I don't want them to take Frondell. They got to take Misa. And then hearing everything I heard about, you know, from when talking to a couple more people in the industry, a little bit closer to the players rather than kind of what people are saying in the industry, I started to get the sense that it was going to be Michael Misa. And when I put out my official prediction after saying it was Frondell like the day before, where I was like, I think it's going to be Frondell. When I put out my official prediction, I said Misa. And I was like 65% confident in that. Now, granted, I was right. I should have put, you know, I should have been more confident in it outright. But I did believe it for a little bit until the day of when I got a little bit more info with just kind of the mentality of how maybe some of the interviews went when they last spoke to each player. And that kind of gave me a clue. It's like, I think they're going to go Misa. And then Mike Greer and Ryan Clough even said on a different interview with Alan Hoshida, who's the NBC Sports host for the Sharks broadcasts, said that, you know, people just put stuff out there. And I think Mike Greer is really good at putting a smokescreen out there. I don't know if he told anybody, if he did this on purpose, if it truly just came from a rumor. But if it was Mike Greer just trying to test the market, see what's going on, he did a very good job of it.
Damn right. Let's talk a little bit about one of my favorite prospects who's a goalie, and that's Josh Ravensbergen. I got to watch him. I work for the Kamloops Blazers as well. I got to watch Ravensbergen a lot this year when he came through Kamloops, when we went up to Prince George, etc. Very nice kid, but man, what a great goaltender he is. He's got. I know he himself has even said that he's got some things he's got to work on a little bit, but I had him being the first goalie selected in this draft. Obviously, Pyotr Andrianov goes first to Columbus, but what a pickup for San Jose getting Josh Ravensbergen. What have you had a chance to talk with him, and what do you kind of make of Josh down there?
Yeah, I when you look at a nice Canadian boy, that's Josh Ravensbergen. Sweet kid. You know, he looks just like he's 15. Like, I mean, he's tall. He's 6'4", 6'5". I mean, the kid's huge. The biggest thing is I was not expecting them to go goalie, especially with Yaroslav Askarov there. But Ravensbergen to me is the highest upside of any goalie in the draft. I've been told many times that I thought he was the first goalie off the board. He should have been at least, and the Sharks got him at 30. I mean, that's great value when you look at the Sharks draft as a whole. Before I get back to Ravensbergen, and I can relate this to him, when you look at it, it is really a lot of high ceiling. When you it's almost like fantasy football. I'm going to draft this young wide receiver 3 and give him time, because by halfway through the year, he's going to be a wide receiver 1. He's going to be, but that time to develop. When you look at Askarov, right, he's 22, 23. He's going to be very good. Ravensbergen could be very good. And by the time Askarov's 30, you can almost go the Pecorine UC Saros route with Ravensbergen, who is going to take some time. The quickness is there. The size, you can't teach that. That's there. I think it's just some of the technical things. And if we've seen from the Sharks development staff, it didn't quite really work out with Alexander Georgiev. Why, I don't know. We did see a little bit of improvement after the trade, but you look at Mackenzie Blackwood. Not only was he majorly healthy in his season and a half with the Sharks, got him a 5-year contract with the Colorado Avalanche. Devin Cooley became an all-star in the AHL and all of a sudden turned into a 49 out of 50 save performance, and nobody had heard of him before. Georgi Romanov looked like he was a decent goalie at the end of last season. When Thomas Spear and the Sharks goalie staff, at least lately, would get their hands on a goalie, they seem to be doing well. I mean, Gabe Carrier, too. Nobody heard of him, and he's turned into a bona fide number one AHL goalie down the stretch when Askarov was hurt. So I'm a little surprised they let go of Romanov, but when it comes to Ravensburg, they've got the staff, they've got the tools to develop him, and they don't need to rush him, which when it comes to goalies, critical. You cannot rush a goalie. And when you look at Askarov, what is it, 4 years in the AHL now? He's ready for the jump. And he got some time, like some genuine time. I think he would have had more if he wasn't injured at the end of last season. He probably would have been the NHL instead of Romanov. But with Ravensburg, the skills are there. They just need to be patient with him. And they don't have to be quick because of Askarov.
I liked Askarov last year, and I do think that he's someone that could make the jump. I watched him 4 years at the World Juniors. This is something I harp on a lot. He was on Valeri Bragan's Russian World Junior team 4 times. It's very rare for Valeri Bragan to take players that are younger than 19, sometimes 18. So props to Askarov for making that team 4 times, and that shows how good he was from a young age. And I think he's going to just, like you said, make it time for an NHL season this year.
Yeah, when you look at the moves too, and the way they've talked about him, it's his net. He's the 1A. That's, I guess, what they're projecting. I was thinking, if they go the free agency route to get a pair with him, it would be an Alex Lyon. And I think they got something similar in that in Alex Nedeljkovic. Obviously, goal scorer. And we know Askarov loves to play with the puck. So a guy that knows how to play with the puck, veteran guy. He when we spoke to him, he talked about all the different kind of pairs that he's been with, whether at the AHL level, he's been a young guy. And with James Reimer, what's veteran in Carolina, he's been paired with Tristan Jarry, who's an all-star who's maybe faltering. He's been kind of with all kinds of partners. So when it comes to Askarov, that personality really meshes and matches. So I think it caught him off guard, but I think he's kind of really excited to be here. I mean, he knows he's not a bona fide starter, so he's the classic role player who understands his role, who will play it, and he's going to get a good amount of playing time too. So he'll get enough playing time, and if he does it well, he knows he's got a contract on the other side, whether that's with the Sharks or not. He's got motivation to be successful here, and who knows, if Askarov truly is not ready and, again, gets hurt a little bit, Nedeljkovic is the right guy to step in, and we've seen that he's been able to. I mean, he was a potential Calder winner. I mean, he was very good. He was a starting goalie in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Like, I like that pair with him. So it is Askarov's net. I think he's going to play 55 to 60% of the games. He's not going to play 60-plus games. I don't think he hits 55 games. I think he hits 52 to 54 games if he stays healthy, and the rest go to Nedeljkovic. And we'll see what happens. But I like the pairing, but I think they're definitely ready to go. It's Askarov's net. And when he was up, they played confident in front of him when he was up last year.
Dayton had a player written down here, but I'm going to take his question from him. Simon Wang. What do you make of that pick? Because I like that pick a lot. I talked with Stephen Ellis here at Daily Faceoff about it, and Stephen's been very vocal about the pick being good as well. And with Wang, he's going to need time, so it works out perfect. He goes to Boston University. He's going to play and do his thing in the NCAA for a little bit, and kind of cook, as the kids would say nowadays, and do what he does, right? So, what did you make of Wang getting picked up? And I think Dayton actually knows how to pronounce his surname or his real name.
It's Hao Shi Wang, is it not? His name.
Yeah, Hao Shi Wang is what we're getting told. So I thought it was announced as Wang at the draft, but it is Wang from what I understand. I got clarification on this yesterday. I've heard it both ways. But so for reference, when referencing him out loud, he wants to go by Hao Shi Wang, right? He wants to go by Hao Shi. When writing, you want to do Hao Shi and then parentheses Wang, just how it was written. But I think it's cool that he wants to go by. Originally, after the draft, he said, just call me Simon. But he's going with his birth given name, which I think is cool. It's not a hard name to say. It's unique. It's cool to him. And ironically, you mentioned Stephen Ellis. I'm sitting next to him when they made the pick. And he goes, wow, they took Wang. That's a great pick. That's a guy who's 6'6", who can skate like he's 5'10". Proved it. He proved it at Dev Camp. He's going to be a project. He's going to go back to the OHL for a year because he wants to go back there. And I think that's the right move. And with the new NCAA rules, it's perfect because he needs more time in the OHL, play a bigger role, get used to playing against higher end talent. And then the next year going to BU, then I think he'll be ready for an AHL contract. The kid can skate and he's the nicest ever. And you mentioned cooking. He supposedly was the best cook at development camp. Says
Awesome.
he told Michael Misa, who he's rooming with, that he's been cooking since he was 13. So
Damn.
yeah,
I saw that that Wang actually made the jump this year from junior A before going to the
Yeah.
OHL. What can you say about that jump? It obviously takes a pretty good player to stick in the OHL and then continue on to be a first round or a second round draft pick.
yeah. I mean, you can almost look at him as a first round draft pick. I mean, he was picked 33, right? It's same pick as Igor Chernyshov, who looks like he's legit too. So they look like they've got first round upside, if you will.
Right.
More fantasy football references there, where first round upside type player. But again, that goes along with what I said a few minutes ago when it comes to project players. High upside. They've got guys who are going to take some time, but they can afford to take that time, right? They can build them. And I think for a guy like Hao-Shi Wang, like he is a great skater. Stick work needs a little bit of work. The aggressiveness needs a little bit of work. He's going to win a board battle, no questions asked. But I think the one-on-one defending it will be good if they cut to the inside, but you know it's going to take some work. The stick work offensively, especially, is going to be good. But the two things he's good at are skating, shutting down. Sorry, three things. Two things are skating, shutting down plays along the boards, and making a good breakout pass. And the breakout pass, the decision making needs to be cleaned up. But from a Sharks perspective, if you have those three things as a base, everything else can follow behind it. I don't think he's going to be an offensive talent. He'll get some shots through. I think he'll end up having a good wrist shot, nothing crazy, but he's going to be a perfect number 3, number 4 defenseman who's going to be top PK and just shut things down and box out the front of the crease, which the Sharks have struggled with for years now.
I agree with that 100%. And actually, I saw the clip of him going one-on-one with Michael Misa. It was on your Twitter. And yesterday we showed that in the show, credited Real Max Miller on the bottom. And then Colton, after the show, said, oh, yeah, on tomorrow, we're having Max Miller on from the San Jose Beat. And I was like, oh, no way. We showed it. It was kind of like a full circle moment. I was like, oh, that's neat.
Glad to know I'm wanted. Yeah, no, what's funny is I was talking to Curtis Pashelka, one of the other writers here in San Jose, and he's like, yeah, that video of Wong went viral. I didn't realize how much it went. I'm not trying to like gloat or anything. I was like, it went that far? I didn't realize people were that interested in it. But I mean, it was just a one-on-one. I think Misa made a great move, and he still kind of completed it. But Wong just said, you're not getting to the center of the ice. And the biggest thing that I look at that clip is the edge control is ridiculous. I mean, he like moves his feet all around and he doesn't lose any speed, forward, backward. Angling was pretty good, kept him in front of him. But you could see a little bit there, the aggressiveness. He didn't meet up with him until right before the face-off dot. It's a little deep. But it's one-on-one. It's development camp. What are you going to do? But you look at the edge control, and that just shows you all you want to see in the skating.
100%. I've seen the skating. He really showed out in the playoffs this year when TSN was broadcasting the Oshawa Generals and London Knights. I saw him play this year, and oh my gosh, the skating, like you said, 5'10" player, or like Steven said, a 5'10" player looks like.
Yeah, skates like a 5'10" player in a 6'6" body. What's funny is his stick is very long, and I'm a gearhead. If you guys know what I write, I know I find only little tape jobs. I'm a gearhead. I love it. I don't know why. I noticed his stick is not very long for a 6'6" player. It's going to be long if I were to use it at 5'10", but it's not the longest stick, but he's got good reach. And as soon as I made that comment to somebody in the press box yesterday, he reached around and poke checked the play and made a breakup pass and changed in the scrimmage. I was like, well, doesn't look like he needs a long stick anyway.
Whatever works for him, I guess. Some players are picky with their sticks. I know I was a picky player with my stick, although I never made it anywhere. I'm no Hao-Shi Wang, but that's okay.
Yeah, you know, I take my stick the same way since I was 10 years old. What are you going to do? Everybody has their own preferences.
Yeah.
Well, there's one more player that I wanted to talk about, and it's Richard Gallant. He's the only one under 6 feet tall. We talked about this with Mario Tirabassi from CHGO Sports Chicago the other day, and I brought up that the Blackhawks didn't pick many players under 6 feet tall, and neither did the Sharks, other than Gallant. So what can you kind of say on the size factor in this year? And is Gallant a special player, or is that just kind of where the shorter players fell this year?
I just think I think it's kind of where the shorter players fell this year. I think skill wise, he's got some good skill. He can shoot the puck. He can make good hands. He's got good burst, that quick first step. He's got a lot of learning to do. I mean, that size is going to put you behind the 8 ball a little bit. And I mean, if you look at the draft itself, there were no defensemen taken under 6 feet tall at all. I know Gallant's a forward. When we talked to him, he's got a good mind on his shoulders. I mean, he He surprised me. He impressed me in the interview when we met him on Tuesday, and the kid can work. He's got the right path in front of him, and if he wants to do it, it'll take a little bit. But if he just continues to develop and do his thing, there's a chance for him to be a role player, maybe a third, fourth liner. I would want him to add some more physicality. And when players draft the 7th round, I mean, when you're drafting the NHL, you're a scorer everywhere you've been growing up, in most cases at least. When you get to the NHL, you got to find that role. You got to find that lower, maybe that grind. Like Marc-Edouard Vlasic was a scoring defenseman, and then he became one of the best shutdown defensemen in the NHL. He was a scoring guy in juniors. So I like him. I like his speed, his skating, his elusiveness. His offensive upside isn't as high as maybe another shorter player like Joey Muldowney, who had a breakout year at UConn last year. But I like, he's got a good head on his shoulders. I like what he did. He impressed me in the little talk. And it's just, one interview I've had with him. He looked good yesterday. He needs to add a few things to his game, but the development's there in front of him if he just does it right. Takes his time. Don't force it, and he'll do a good job.
I want to switch gears a little bit just before we let you go. I want to look at the future of the Sharks, I guess you could say, this upcoming season. I read an article this morning on Clutch Sports Online that the Sharks might be looking to trade a D-man this coming week since they signed Dmitry Orlov. And I also read that Bowen Byram, the Sharks might be interested in him. Have you heard anything around those fronts?
Nothing crazy in terms of the Byram interest. I think there is definitely probably some interest to add him there. I think the $9 million that Dave Pagnotta is reporting might be a little steep. Sharks have the space. That's not a problem. But when you look at the Sharks defense on Puckpedia or Cap Wages or whatever, they have one defenseman that's signed for the 26-27 season. That's Dmitry Orlov. That's it. The rest are either RFAs or UFAs. They have 8 defensemen right now. You look at this, if we go down the list, you got Ferraro, Orlov, Leddy, Klingberg, Thrun, Liljegren, Desharnais, and Sam Dickinson. That's too many. And if you're Sam Dickinson, you look at the guys they brought in, I think there's room for him in 6, in the top 6. Who knows what the recovery is like for Muka Madulin and Ferraro. They're both expected to be ready to go. So that shouldn't be a problem. But right now, it's tough because will Klingberg stay healthy? Nick Leddy had an injury filled last year. Dmitry Orlov, I think, is solid. I like that ad. But when it comes to Bowen Byram, I guess the name that I throw out there, and it's nothing against Mario, but Mario Ferraro, pending UFA, he's been around trade rumors. They're looking for a bona fide NHL talent. Do I think he'd fit in there? Probably, but I don't know. I feel like Mario Ferraro would benefit going somewhere else more successful, and the Sharks don't strike me as an organization. Nothing against Buffalo, but they'll send him to a place where he's had perennial struggles where he's been. They want to do right by him and get him to the playoffs because I think that's where he'll be his most successful. A guy like Henry Thrun, who's 24, one of my favorite guys to talk to in the room. I feel like they might be interested, but we'll see. The Sharks have been high on him in the past. It's tough to say. I do think they're going to move out of D-man at some point. One thing that Todd Marchand and Mike Greer said yesterday is that if Sam Dickinson proves he's ready for the NHL, they'll make room for him, whether that's trade, cut, waiver, whatever the case may be. And the last thing they'd want to do is block a young player, and that's something that they've emphasized. There's no way of knowing how they determine who's ready, but take that information for what you want.
Sounds good. It sounds like they're pretty high on Sam Dickinson, and they'll do whatever they need to.
Well, when you have the season that Sam Dickinson had, and you look 3 times as big as you did in preseason last year, you're going to be high on Sam Dickinson, who arguably was maybe the number 1 defenseman, maybe other than Lev Shunov in the draft year. And even then, he could borderline Lev Shunov. And I think he proved a lot of people that, hey, he probably shouldn't have gone 11th.
That's true.
I think even Lev Shunov still has some stuff to work on and prove himself. So I think they might even just be on an even keel here at this point. Sam Dickinson, after the season, like you said, put himself up there.
Yeah, 100%. The kid's nice. He's funny. He's got work ethic, and he wants to just play hockey and have fun. So, and he's very happy he doesn't have to go against Michael Misa anymore.
And he does love the media, like you said. He's a funny guy. I always see him in the media around team social stuff. London Knights social was filled with Sam Dickinson this year.
Well, I mean, when you're scoring that many goals and points, you have to.
Oh,
yeah.
100%.
Hey Max, one more thing for me before we let you go. Luca Cagnani, he was one of my favorite players in the WHL for a handful of seasons there. I mean, just a small, elusive defenseman. I mean, another guy who's got pristine edge work. Got a few games last year with San Jose. what do you make of Kignani, and do you think that there's a spot for him, not soon, but down the road, now that he's got a few games under his belt?
Yeah, I mean, it says something that in his first year in the AHL, he got called up and ran a power play. He stayed in training camp a lot longer than people expected. In talking with him and some of the people in his camp, I know that last summer he worked his butt off to get to where he needed to be physically. There's still more to go. And as a smaller player, you have to, going back to Gallant even, right? Like you have to work, you have to get stronger, you have to get bigger. And he asked, people that were helping him train, what are these numbers, the fitness numbers of the Cale Makars, the Quinn Hughes, the Adam Foxes, and he beat those numbers. He beat those physical numbers. Now it's off ice stuff. I don't think he's going to be a Cale Makar, but like it says something that he said, what are those numbers? I need to get past them. And he did that. His biggest attributes are his first step, and he's got a great poke check. I mean, he rarely misses a poke check, and he's got a terrific passer. I mean, you could put Sam Dickinson and Cagnoni at their full development. Let's say they both get to their peak development, the most you could develop them. If you're looking at this at an NHL video game style development, I put Luca Cagnoni running PP1 over Sam Dickinson. That's how good he looked running the power play in the preseason and in the couple games in the regular season. He just is smooth. I mean, he was running plays like he would shoot the puck specifically wide, just, for Eklund literally to tip in or bank it off the boards just wide so Eklund could bank it back in. And they were slow because they didn't realize that could happen because he saw the scene before everybody else did. So Cagnoni's a good player. He'll be the number one-ish defenseman, by committee with the very good to start, I would think. But he had a good camp last year. Let's see what he can do this year. So there's a spot for him in the future, but it's tough right now with some of the numbers they brought in. And I do think that Dickinson, just namesake and overall body build type, has an edge over him going in.
Yeah, I can see Dickinson winning that spot for sure. I mean, everybody I've talked to as well. I mean, they've just gushed about how he's ready for the NHL, and I hope he gets his chance here this season. I think that does everything from me, Max. You were the best. Thank you so much for joining us today and taking some time out of your 4th of July. So happy 4th of July to you.
Thank you.
But again, thanks for coming on today, and we'll have to get you back once the season gets rolling.
Yes, sir, boys. Have a good summer. Play some golf for me, will you?
Oh,
we'll do.
Max.
All right. Thank you.
Take care. Well, Colton, I don't know how good I am at golf, but we'll see. We'll be right back. Colton and I are actually going to do something fun here to wrap up the show, but we'll be right back after a commercial break.
Looking for a new way to quench your thirst? Game Day Tarps is now an official Quench affiliate. Head on over to quench.ca/GameDayTarps podcast and use our code GameDayTarps podcast, all caps, all one word, for 15% off your total order. Stay cool this summer with the #1 sports drink on the market. Stay quenched.
Is the off season bumming you out?
Yeah.
Do you wish you had more hockey content to consume?
Yeah.
Well, head on over to patreon.com/GameDayTarps and check out all the exclusive content we have to offer. Behind the scenes videos, in-depth analysis, and so much more. Select the membership tier and enjoy the content made only for you. Only at patreon.com/GameDayTarps.
All right, folks. It's the 4th of July weekend. Canada Day just passed. Summertime. It's the perfect time for a barbecue. I told Colton before the show, we're doing something special. We're going to end off the show doing something fun. Colton, you and I are going to rank the top 4 barbecue foods. When you go to a cookout, what are the top 4 things that you want on the barbecue? I know there's some people out there that they like the sides. They want to go to a cookout and they're here for the fruits and the macaroni salads and the potato salads. But I'm here for the hot dogs, the hamburgers, the ribs. What's your number 4? What's your number 4? Meat wise.
Hamburger.
Hamburger. That's tough. Hamburger at 4.
Yeah.
What's your third? What's your third one?
I don't know. Probably probably ribs.
That's fair. I would go ribs at 2. I love ribs. I'm a big ribs guy. Do you barbecue often?
No, not really. I did. Not right now though. I mean, now that it's summertime, yeah. But like mostly like yeah, I don't know.
So hamburger at 4, ribs at 3. What's your
I'd
number
probably
2?
do well what are my choice, like brisket?
You get anything, like anything you could,
Yeah.
like
With
sausages.
steak, like steak would
I'm
be like I'd probably put sausage at number 2 and like steaks at number 1.
okay. What kind of sausages though? Are you talking like those cheddar filled, like?
Yeah, like kind of like anything.
Oh, I love those ones. People shit on
Like
them all the time, but
Yeah, the cheddar filled jalapeno ones, those are fucking bomb. But I don't know. Yeah, I think that's how I would do it. Four
and a
would
good
be
steak at
burgers,
number
3
1.
would be ribs, 2 would be sausages, and then yeah, 1 would be steaks. What about you? What's your 1 and 2?
My 1 and 2 are probably, you got to go steaks 1. I think steaks are 1. I love a good hot dog. I love just a
of course you
plain
do.
good hot dog. Put some ketchup. You saw me last night. I was eating some hot dogs.
That's true.
A ketchup. I'm a plain ketchup guy with some diced onions. Oh, that's amazing.
There you go.
Well, Colton, that does it for us here. Anything you got going on this weekend?
No, not a lot. The Blue Jays play tomorrow. I gotta clip that game for the Blue Jays socials, for not for the Blue Jays in general, but for the Blue Jays Nation, which is part of the Nation Network here at Daily Faceoff. So I gotta do that tomorrow. So I'll be watching that.
The Jays have been on a roll. They put up 17 runs in a game, and then they beat the Yanks 11-9. They took over they took over the AL East. So
yeah, no. So that's really about it. See how the weather kind of plays out this weekend. Maybe go for a hike or something. What about you?
I am not going to be doing too much. I got a few videos to edit for our Game Day Tarps YouTube channel and our Patreon. So go check those out. Myself and Riley recorded something last night. We're also going to be recording something with the Prospect Dawn this weekend.
Yeah, we'll be doing something with the Prospect Dawn. We'll have something for our YouTube channel as with him coming up too. We're gonna do pretty much a big draft recap. If all goes according to plan, that episode will air Monday during our live time. As we've kind of talked about, our lives are going to shorten down, but not yet. But we still got another week or so to go. But yeah, so I think we're planning to air that one with the Prospect on Monday. So stay tuned on our socials for that one. And if not, then we'll have a guest Monday, which very well might just be the Prospect on the same time.
Yes, sir. There's I don't know if you read my my tweet, or not my tweet, my message in the group chat before. I was on Twitter and I saw the Newfoundland Regiment, the new QMJHL franchise. They have their play-by-play guy, 17-year-old Seth Hyde, a guy from Gonzaga High School in St. John's, Newfoundland. I'm gonna try and get him on. What a job that would be to pick up at 17 years old. You're gonna be the play-by-play guy for your local QMJHL team, on the radio, on the TV. Oh goodness, this guy's got it.
Yeah, he's already got his career set up right there. I mean, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely see what you can do with that. It'd be awesome to talk to him and get here. Yeah, that's cool.
100%. Well, everyone, we thank you for tuning in. Happy Friday, and for you Americans down south of the border, from a couple of Canadian boys, happy 4th of July. We'll see you Monday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, right here on GDT Live.